to party. Hey, 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 hey. Ooh. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry about that. Hey, it's Dr. Tay here for another episode of Kitchen Science. And today we have something really fun in store. Today, we're going to be making elephant's toothpaste. And while making elephant's toothpaste, we're going to be learning about exothermic reactions and what a catalyst is. So stay tuned. As I mentioned before, the learning principles of today are exothermic reaction and catalyst. To help us understand what those two things are, Professor Tay is going to give us a little bit of direction. Professor Tay, help us out. Thank you, Dr. Tay, for calling on me to assist with you today. Hi, class. I'm so excited for your elephant toothpaste experiment, and I'm glad that I'm able to help you understand what you're doing today. I know we're going to go over what a catalyst is and what an exothermic reaction is, but it's essential to start off with what hydrogen peroxide does. Well, in your experiment, hydrogen peroxide is going to break down into water and oxygen. Water is written in the form of H2O, which means it has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Hydrogen and oxygen can be found on a periodic table. Hydrogen is on a periodic table as an H, and oxygen is on a periodic table as an O. Now that you know that it's going to break down in your experiment, let's talk about a catalyst. The yeast in your experiment is going to be the catalyst. A catalyst is something that speeds up the rate of your experiment. So your yeast is going to speed up how fast your experiment takes place. Last but not least, your experiment is exothermic. That means it's going to release some type of energy. In your case, it's going to release heat in your elephant toothpaste experiment. Now that you know the essential parts of this experiment, go have fun. Great. Now I understand that a catalyst speeds up a reaction, and an exothermic reaction is one where energy is released. Something such as heat can be that energy. So thank you, Professor Tay, for that direction. Now let's get started with our experiment. The supplies you'll need are hydrogen peroxide that you can get from a CVS or any convenience store, a clear container. I have a vase, a soup container, and some clear cups, something to stir with, some type of dish soap, food coloring, yeast, and they come in yeast packets most of the time, and then scissors to open up the yeast with. Parents, be warned, this may get a little messy. So I have a counter space covered with a tablecloth and a cutting board that I'm going to actually put my container on top of for the elephant toothpaste making. Let's get started. So the first step, we're going to have hot water and mix our yeast into the hot water. I've already made this water warm enough for the mixing, and I'm going to empty my yeast packet into this hot water. Next, you're going to want to mix your yeast into the hot water so you have thoroughly mixed into solution. Next, we're going to add our hydrogen peroxide to our empty container. I chose to use the empty vase so it could be big enough to show you guys through this video. So, adding my hydrogen peroxide. Now I'm going to add some dish soap. And it doesn't take much. The more you use, the more foam it produces. Next, I'm going to add my food coloring. Chose red. And if you want to be very creative, you can add other colors to the other side to see what happens. I'm going to choose blue for this side. And maybe a dash of green here. All right, and the last step is to add your yeast water solution. And you want to do this quickly because you want to hopefully ignite your reaction immediately as possible. I provided 3 more examples of the same experiment using yellow, red, and blue. And as you can see, we have the same results, but different colors. Now you can pick what color you're going to use for your elephant's toothpaste. But before we go too far, just wanted to make sure you feel the container of your reaction. And you can feel that it's a little warm, right? Well, that's because this is the exothermic reaction. The energy that's released in this reaction when you added your yeast to your hydrogen peroxide not only broke your hydrogen peroxide down to water and oxygen, but it also released heat. So now you know what a catalyst is, what an exothermic reaction is, and you know how to create elephant's toothpaste. Thank you for joining me. I had so much fun on this episode of Kitchen Science. Join me again, your host, Dr. Tay, as we have more fun through science.